Hola, ¿qué tal? Soy Dani Mantilla y seguimos aquí en la Seminci de Valladolid, en este set que tenemos en Quinótico en el Teatro Calderón, que es un rincón maravilloso, y estoy muy bien acompañado por Ariane Labed, actriz, directora, que presenta aquí su primera película como cineasta, Septiembre 6, Septiembre dice. Welcome to Valladolid.
Thank you.
How does it feel to travel around the world with a film? You not only, well, you're used to star in movies, now you're like the mother of the project.
Yeah, I think it's a good analogy to say that I'm the mother of the project. I really feel like I'm traveling and showing my baby or the extension of myself almost to the world. So it's very moving, very frightening sometimes. But it's an amazing experience. Having to do it as a director feels really more engaging, and I'm enjoying it.
And how does the conversation change about the film? Because it's not the same thing, the audience in France, for example, or in Valladolid. What have you discovered about this film, talking about it with the people?
Um, Yeah, I can notice that some audience are more touched by the feminist aspect of my film, for example. So some audience are really more feminist oriented, I feel, and some other audience are maybe more struck or shocked by the disturbing aspect of my film as well. So, but yeah, it's funny. I'm also learning a lot through people's questions and remark. It's almost like every Q&A, I realize more what I've done as an artist, and
That's really cool.
yeah, and I really enjoy that.
This is an adaptation on a novel, Sisters by Daisy Johnson. You were talking about like the feminist side, the disturbing side. What was the thing that struck you the most about this story?
I think first I fell in love with the characters and how complex they were. I know I'm very interested into female characters, and when I was reading the book and I understood the complexity of the relationship in between those two sisters, I really thought that it was something I would like to dig into. And then, of course, the aspect of the Gothic novel was something that really excited me as a translation into cinema, because Johnson has a very poetic language, sometimes almost abstract, and the challenge of trying to make it to cinema, to images, was something I really wanted to try, and almost trying to translate abstract things into very concrete and into the body, because I really enjoy working with physicality.
You're Greek, you're French, and you did this film in English. Why? Was it the Gothic theme? That was the reason because why you did the film in Ireland?
I'm actually French, but I live in Greece.
Ah, okay.
That's fine. Um, yeah, it was like that from the beginning, because the book was attached already to Element Pictures with an Irish producer, a production company, and with BBC Film. And I think, yeah, the Gothic aspect of the novel is really part of a British culture and English spoken culture. The landscape also, I think, made really more sense in Ireland than in south of France or in Greece in my imagination. So it was quite obvious that it had to be there, and I also like not working at home. Let's say that I can also have a view on another country as a foreign. I think that's an interesting aspect as well.
You have been working as an actress like half your life, more or less. When did you discover that you had a filmmaker within you?
Actually, I studied theater and I always wanted to direct. I started doing mostly dance and theater on stage, but I always had in mind that I wanted to direct my own things. And then I did my first film when I was 26, and right away on the set, it was on Attenberg of Athina Tsangari.
She's going to be here in Valladolid in a few days.
No, she's not coming.
Oh, she's not coming.
Yeah, she has her
Oh.
film, but she can't come.
Oh, too bad.
Yeah, no. Yeah, but she's a good friend of mine. And already on the set, I was, I wouldn't say it, but I was inside of me. I was like, oh, that's what I want to do too. And I think the fact that I started with a woman director also made me think that it's actually possible. So I've always wanted to direct. It just took some time for me also to find, I think, the assurance or like the, to put inside me that my voice is also worth listening to, and it's worth expressing it. I was struggling with that idea, I think, first, and it took me time, but I did it.
Maybe it's a bit soon to do this question, but how do you feel directing has changed you as an artist and also as an actress, maybe?
I directed a short film almost 5 years ago now, so it's been in my mind since then, and the process has started a few years now. So I think both kind of help each other. I think also having an experience as a director helps me as an actress, and of course being an actress helps me a lot as a director. Also, I think because actors have more experience on set than most directors, so it's an environment that I know and understand really well. So it's really something I want to keep doing both, and I think both kind of help each other.
You started working as an actress in your 20s. Did you feel protective for your stars because they were teenagers and this was her first film?
Yeah, definitely. I really care about working in a very safe environment. So for me, it was very important that we all agree on what we were doing. We, of course, worked with intimacy coordinators. We had a relationship that is, I think, based on collaboration more than I'm the boss and you do what I want to do, because that's the way I like to work as an actress as well. So I don't think it's a sense of protection. It's more thinking of them as collaborator. That was the main thing for me.
And you're one of the founders of the Actors Association.
Yeah.
That thing you were talking about with the intimacy coordinators, the way things are done on a set, because sometimes when I talk with actors and actresses, they say that things can be done in a different way, in a more healthy way.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes we idolize like the figure of the genius, like he has to be an asshole to be great, and he doesn't have to be. How do you feel about that, and everything that's going on in France this last year with the Me Too? Because finally it has waken up, at least it seems from afar.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been part of a fight that me and my colleagues are starting to do in France, and it's really time for us to kill the figure of the auteur as a genius. We have to rethink and remember, actually, that cinema is a collective art, and that a director is nothing on its own. I think that's the starting point. And to give also the power and the understanding to every actor on set that they produce and create images, so they also need to feel responsible for them. And again, this idea of collaboration, I think, is the healthiest way to actually reach a safe and pleasant environment, and there is a real joy in working like that, and I think it also affects the result. Being able to trust each other also allows you to go further. Working with intimacy coordinator also allows you to talk about different kind of sexuality and have more representations or different representation than what we've had for so long, of having always the same heterosexual, boring sexuality, usually based on male performances. So it's a revolution that's happening finally, and I think it's gonna have an impact directly on the kind of images we produce, and I think it's a way healthier. It's a healthier way to represent human being in our society, and I think that's gonna be good for everyone.
I wanted to ask you about the movement in this film, because you come from a dance background, and I read in an interview that you said that you didn't like really to move the camera so much. You like to watch the characters move in the screen. How was realizing that, the kind of filmmaker you were visually, for example?
I started developing that in my short film, Ola. It was important for me to give the space, and the center is the actors and their first tool, which is the body. It's a language I understand better than, for example, handheld camera. Some directors do that really well, but coming from dance and theater, I guess I also have this need of bodies in space, because I think that's a language as it own. So choreography and dance is a language and a communication. So of course, knowing that and experiencing that as an actor also drives my artistic point of view. And yeah, in the same sense that I don't work with too many dialogues, I don't work with too many close-up. I'm really excited about what a body and two bodies can communicate to each other, or three or seven bodies can communicate into a frame. That's something that is kind of amazing to me, and I'm trying to dig into this research.
You were talking earlier about filmmaking as a collective experience. Who did you show the draft of the screenplay, a first cut of the film? Did you talk to any of your previous filmmakers, for example, like to have an external view?
No, I shared the script with filmmakers that I've worked with and I admire. Maybe only two, to be honest. Or even no other people I've worked with before, like a costume designer, my first AD for my short film. So people I've worked with and I trust. So I shared them the script. But then after that, when I'm in the process of actually editing it, it's hard for me to share it because it's such a vulnerable position and you kind of have to trust your guts. It's something I couldn't really share much, no.
And was there any feedback, like helped you find, like, well, a better version of the film? Is like, oh, you helped me with some problem.
Yeah, probably my DOP, Balthazar Lab. I've been working with him since my short film as well, and he's a very close collaborator. So I guess it would be him that, yeah, told me very precise things because he had a very deep understanding of the project. I guess he gave me some keys in that. And of course, the editor, Bettina Böhler, she's a very experienced editor, and not being on set and just arriving and seeing all the rushes suddenly gave me a fresh point of view on what I'd done. So yeah, my very close collaborator, of course, helped me. And my producers, of course. Yeah.
They say that you make a film three times: when you write it, when you film it, and when you edit it.
That's
What
true.
was the most difficult, challenging thing for you, and the thing you enjoyed the most?
I really enjoyed the writing process because I entered into a dialogue with the book and I didn't feel alone at all. I felt like a kid playing with dolls, and I had a lot of fun, honestly, writing it. Then the shooting is the most joyous part because you actually make it happen, and working with actors is, I guess, my favorite thing. So the painful part is post-production for me. It's when you realize what you've done, and that's what, and out of that you need to do the third film that you were talking about, and this is where you feel a bit more alone and depressed.
Did you consider playing the mother of September and July?
No, I really wanted to have an actor from with Indian heritage, so I didn't want my cast to be white. So, and I don't think of myself in my films. I don't. That's something I don't want to do. And I had her in mind, Rakita Kar, quite early on in the process. I think she's a very physical and she has a very specific and funny expressivity, like physicality. So no, I would never. I don't think I will ever act in one of my films.
I wanted to ask you about your take on the female experience of adolescence, because sometimes when we watch stories about female teenagers, they are quite condescending. Most times from a male filmmaker. Was that like a reason to do this movie, to play with a really different kind of relationship also between July and September?
Yeah, probably. For me, the most important thing was to explore girlhood into something that feels closer to what I've experienced, that is not glamorous or sexualized, because we've seen a lot of that too, like teenage girls being sexualized in cinema, especially in France in the 80s. So this is more like the urge and the need to talk about and to show hairy girls being silly, playing games, being outsiders, because it's so hard to be in school and so hard to deal with the world as it is. So trying to find your own games, your own rules, that's something that really spoke to me, and I wanted to show this kind of girls that are able to create their own world and that are not obeying the rules that they should maybe obey to in school. So that's what, attracted me into talking about teenagehood. And of course, and that's why it's very present in cinema, is that it's a period of life where nothing is decided yet. So you can go any direction. So that's great for fiction.
How was the process of finding your actresses, Mia Taria and Pascal Khan? One of them is going to star, for example, in the new film by Taika Waititi. So it's really cool. How was finding them and working with them?
It took a year to find them. It was very challenging. I had an amazing casting director, Isabella Udofin, she helped me a lot. We were searching for actors or non-actors, and there's a huge part of instinct into choosing an actor for a project. I remember when Mia entered the room, I knew it was her, and I can't explain why exactly. But then I had to find also an actress who would not look like her, be different, but could actually also be a sister. I was not searching for like a twin or look-alike. So it's a matter of chemistry, time, and then rehearsals. That's how it works.
How long were you rehearsing with them?
Around 2 weeks. I wish I had more, but for cinema, it's good actually.
Yeah. Sometimes when we talk with filmmakers, female filmmakers, because in Spain we have been like a huge increase of filmmakers. Now they are saying, and they are absolutely right, that they need more money to tell their stories, because sometimes money is time. Carla Simon was talking about that. The director of Alcarràs is like, we need this to be able to make mistakes also while you're doing a film. What mistakes did you make during September Says?
I think I should have cut something, and I had an intuition that maybe I'm shooting something that is not going to be in the film, but I shoot it anyway, and it's not in the film. So I've lost time shooting something that was not useful for the story. So maybe being more, when you don't have much money, you have to be a bit more harsh on cutting things from your script. But I wish I had more money and more time.
Maybe for the second feature?
Maybe.
Have you been writing a new film?
I have an idea in mind. I haven't really had the time to settle and write because I'm doing this tour. But I have something in mind, yeah.
It's interesting what you were saying about the tour, because you do a film, you're working in it for years, and then it goes to a festival, and you start like 6 months talking about it. Is it different from a filmmaker point of view or than an actress, for example?
Yeah, it's quite different because the time for an actor to promote a film is more usually related to the moment of the release. And now for me, I showed I showed the film in Cannes, so it was in May, and I'm still traveling with it, and it's going to be released in 2025. So the time it's taking is way longer for me, at least. And yeah, it's really talking about something even more intimate, traveling with the film as a director.
And again, it's like a baby, because you're not paid for the time you are promoting a film sometimes.
Like women are not paid when they're raising their kids.
Yes, it's quite similar. And now we are here in the Teatro Calderón, and next door there's a screening of a film called The Brutalist.
Yeah.
You're in it.
Yeah, I have it's like my homage to Brady Corbett that I love, but I don't have a part in it. I just say hello.
Well, but it's cool to be part of
It's
like
great,
a special
of
film.
Of course.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, I saw it in Venice.
Venice.
Sorry.
And how did it feel?
It's an amazing film. Yeah, I really recommend everyone to watch it. He's a brilliant director. It's an epic piece of cinema.
I remember being in Venice, and we barely knew anything about it, and it was like, "What's this?" It's really cool about something really cool about film festivals when you discover a film. How was showing September Says in Cannes, for example?
It was very, very emotional. It was showing your first feature film in Cannes with your actors, the producers, some of the crew as well. My sisters were there. It was very, very, very emotional, and I felt so grateful to be able to show my first feature film there. It's of course, Cannes is a very important festival in the world, but in France maybe especially. So it really meant a lot, and I feel very grateful.
And what about the Volpi Cup? You won in 2010, your
Yeah.
second film.
First film.
First film? Oh, yeah, it's true. Sorry. Your first film with 26 years old, if I'm
Yeah.
not, okay. How was living that? Getting that call, like you have to go back to Venice. You won.
I thought it was too much for me. I didn't even know if I wanted to continue to do cinema as an actress. So of course now I realize how great it was, but I was almost upset. It's very bizarre. But I felt like I didn't deserve it. I didn't want it. I didn't ask for it. I was just very proud of the film. But it felt like, oh my God, it's too much. Now I'm thankful and grateful. But back then I was like, what? But I watched Attenberg again in a festival because they were showing my work as an actress. And I watched it again after many, many years. And it's a brilliant film. So I'm very proud of it. And I'm very happy for the film that we got. The Copa Volpi is really a prize for the film itself, not just for me.
It's a film directed by Athina, and I wanted to end the interview asking you about the Greek cinema because it's really powerful, and it's been like 15 years when it's a small country. What do you feel? What do you think has this happened with this cinematography?
I don't know. I don't really believe that it's a wave, but it's true that few great directors have appeared. Before we had Aggelopoulos, who was like the one, almost the only one. He was, well, a great director, and I think maybe he was shadowing everything, even if he didn't want to. But I think that happens when you have like a genius coming out.
Master, yeah.
Yeah, and and now we finally have space and also maybe an attention to those young directors coming out of Greece. Maybe before that, maybe before Yorgos Lanthimos and Athina Tsangari's film festival were not paying attention much about what was coming out of Greece, and that has changed, and it's
Now
great.
they do.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Thank you very much, and
Thank you.
enjoy San Sebastian.
Valladolid.
Sebastian, again, this happened before starting the
It's
interview.
good. You can use it everywhere.
Yes.
You should do a list of
It's true.
festivals.
We can change the el fondo. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Enjoy Valladolid.
I will.
Ya sabéis que podéis ver estos días aquí en la Seminci Septiembre dice y se estrena en cines en la primavera en 2025. Gracias.